Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, I want to talk about a problem with Diablo 4 and the loot grind and some of like the dopamine involved with farming and rounding out your character, and some of the problems that I think that this might present currently for Diablo 4 to address long term. Now, I want to make sure and mention that I'm here long term. I'm not quitting the game. I'm not whining. I'm not going to be raging or anything, but I do think it's important for us to have candid conversations about some of the good things, some of the bad things, because we all want Diablo 4 to be as good of a game as possible. So it's important to get these narratives out there and talk openly about how we truly feel about the game. And something that I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about within the Diablo 4 community is how generic the loot is in Diablo 4. So you don't really ever, when you're farming, you don't really have those dopamine shots that keep you excited to play. And then once you have your build up, you don't really have anything that drives you to keep going. So I'm experiencing this with a lot of like my friends and teammates and people in the community that we run and people that I interact with, is a lot of people are kind of hitting level 90, level 95, or maybe even they push all the way to 100. And then I can kind of tell that they hit a point where they're not very excited to play anymore. It's harder for me to get groups. It's harder for me to get friends to want to log in and play the game together. And I can just kind of feel this rippling throughout the community a little bit. And then you're even seeing this happen with people like Asmongold, where he's like, bro, I got level 85. I'm done with Diablo 4 until season.
Actually, my goal was to hit 100, but I don't feel like I'm being rewarded enough in the game so far to be motivated to keep leveling to 100. Like, I'll do it again. Sure, I'll do it. I'll do it eventually over time. I'll level like 1 level a day, 2 levels a day, and I'll hit 100. But I'm not excited about it.
And we start to see this sentiment kind of trickle down from the top of like the biggest creators like Asmongold all the way throughout the community, where people kind of come up to hit that point behind them, and more people hit that point every day, and it starts to seem like it's a really common theme that I see going on. And what I mean by the loot system is too generic is, I mean, you're not wearing an actual piece that dropped as your loot. So like in Diablo 3, if I was doing a multi-shot build, I would be looking for something like a Yang's recurve. I need a specific drop. So every time a two-handed crossbow drops, I get that dopamine shot to my arm of like, ooh, I hope that's a Yang's recurve. And then if it is a Yang's recurve, I'm like, oh, I hope it's ancient. And then when I do get my build min-max and I've got all ancient pieces, I can still get that dopamine rush when a two-handed crossbow drops, because I'm like, ooh, I hope it's primal. I still need a primal bow for my weapon. That'll be a huge upgrade for me. There's like that next tier that is super hard to get to. So there's always, while you're farming, specific pieces you drop, like early in the season, ooh, I got Nemesis bracers, guys. I can pop shrines for us now. Like, there's all these constant dopamine rushes because you're looking for specific things that you need. And you just don't get that in Diablo 4. You get like, oh, there's a yellow, I hope it's good. Oh, there's a yellow, I hope it's good. Oh, there's a yellow, I hope it's good. Oh, there's a legendary with an aspect on it. I wonder if the aspect is worth extracting. But and it's so like mundane, it's so generic. Really, the only thing that would hit you like that is if you dropped like a Shaco or something, and it's just so insanely rare that you're never really getting that feeling of fun during the loot grind. And the way that they're trying to address this is to have the like super uniques, where you've got things like temerity, but the thing is, temerity rolls the same every time. Like, so you're not really, the only thing you're hoping for is like, oh, I hope it's got a good roll on the 40 to 80 range of the barrier. You're not like sitting here waiting with deep breath to see what stats you get. Like, am I gonna roll cooldown reduction on this super unique amulet? You already know what the rolls are gonna be, so there isn't like that dopamine rush of hoping that something is good. So the way that I think the uniques should be structured in game is they should have a cool effect for sure. Like this Raiment of the Infinite is a perfect example. It's a super cool effect that after using teleport, you pull things in, you stun them. That's a lot of fun to have in your build, and there's a lot of builds that can take advantage of that. It's a really cool thing to have as an enchantment on a unique item. But then all of the rolls are predetermined. So I wish there was a little bit more leeway, a little bit more customization for the player. Like maybe give it a cool, unique ability like the teleport stun, and then one flagship roll like +1 to glass cannon, but then the other 3 things can be random. So you can like link different raiments in your clan chat, like, oh, look at mine, it rolled perfect, I've got these different stats that I'm looking for. Or when one drops, you're thinking to yourself like, ooh, I hope it rolls good, I'm hoping that it rolls this, I know it's gonna have the teleport stun and the glass cannon, but I wonder what the other 3 rolls are gonna be. Is it gonna give me enough damage reduction? Is it gonna give me the intelligence and the different rolls that I need? And then all of these different slots doing that would give you a lot more customization and more of a grind. Plus, to my earlier point about getting your builds and like the primal drops in Diablo 3, they need to have a tier above Ancestral, something that is super like strive worthy, something that when it drops, you want to link it in Discord. Like when someone drops an Ancestral Legendary, it's like, okay, that's the 1000th one I've seen. But if there was a tier above Ancestral, something that was like, every legendary is only a 1% chance. Like you'd have to find 100 Raiments of the Infinite to get a primal raiment. When someone gets one, that would be a big moment. That would be something you want to show your friends. You want to screenshot and be like, LOL, look at this. I just got a primal raiment of the Infinite. Are you kidding me? And that's the kind of stuff that keeps people engaged and keeps people coming back to enjoy the loot grind. But unfortunately, right now in Diablo 4, we don't really have that stuff out there. A lot of people feel like, okay, when I get to level 70, level 75, I'm mostly maxed out. I'm good to go. I got the right pieces. I got the right rolls. And I'll do my renown grind, and I'm kind of done with my build. I've got full Ancestral. I've got everything I kind of need, and I beat the game. But I will say that it is super encouraging that we've heard things like World Tier 5 basically confirmed, new levels of gems that are coming to the game on top of the current ones that we have. So it is possible that with World Tier 5, we could get that next tier of drop, something super crazy. We could get like primals in Diablo 3, where it is something super rare and something to really strive for to separate some of those builds and keep people coming back for the loot grind. And there's also something that I'm going to talk about in relation to aspects that I haven't heard a lot of people mention. Now, I think aspects were a cool idea. I think it's an interesting way to go about the structuring of builds in an ARPG because it gives the player a lot of customization. Obviously, there's a lot of quality of life things we need around aspects and stuff like that, but I think it's an interesting concept and I don't hate it. But I almost feel like aspects should be a separate drop. Like, there should be a top tier of aspects that you can get in the end game. So you've got like your codex for the entry level of rounding out a build and at least getting things imprinted on your gear. Then you would have like normal aspects that drop where they can have a higher range than something in your codex, and you also have access to different ones. But then in the end game, there should be like a 1% chance that an aspect is like a premium version. So like you see that I got this one right here. It's offensive aspect of engulfing flames, and it's got that range of 30 to 40%. Well, there should be like a 1% chance that an aspect rolls higher, that it is like a pristine aspect or something, and instead of rolling 30 to 40, it rolls 40 to 50. But it would be a really big loot chase to get that to drop. And I almost feel like aspects should just be a separate drop. Like you should get your gear drops, and then the aspects should be something different that you see as loot on the ground, where you see, oh, no way, I just got a pristine aspect of engulfing flames. That's going to have a higher range. I've been looking for one of those. Then it could have like some sort of glowing aura effect or something where it really stands out. And that would be, it's those kind of things that would keep people playing, because I want to get my full build. I want to get all of my aspects as the pristine version with those higher rolls, and it will really keep people excited about the loot grind instead of just finishing at level 70, 75 and being like, okay, I guess I'm going to wait until seasons. But yeah, that's just some of my candid thoughts about how I'm feeling with the loot system and some of the different topics that I haven't seen super discussed out there. I've heard a lot of people talking about how they are starting to feel a little bit lackluster about the game once they hit level 85, level 90, and especially level 100. And I thought some of these different systems within how the loot works might be an opportunity to really give people something to strive for and keep them interested a little bit longer, which admittedly, there's a lot of people that are still loving the game and playing it casually, and that's amazing. A lot of people that are still level 40, level 50, but I do think that as time goes on, as the days and the weeks accumulate, you're going to get more and more people getting to that point where they kind of feel like they run into a brick wall. And I feel like that's happening a little bit sooner than we thought it would in Diablo 4. Now, again, I always say that I think Diablo 4 has the template. I think everything is in place to take this game from good to amazing, and hopefully by like season 1, season 2, season 3, we start to see some of that take place, and then we really see Diablo 4 become what we all hope it is. So there it is. That's my current candid thoughts on where my mind is on some of the things I see going on in Diablo 4 right now, and as always, would love to hear your thoughts down below as well. So remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Diablo 4 content, and I will see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.